My lady's got her tattoos.
Oh, yes, she does. I'm feeling, my problem is I'm trying to get into the spirit of Rhysand, but, like, I've got the, like, stink of Elphaba on me.
I mean, you are in perfect shade for Elphaba.
And not my hands, all right? I talked about it. I was like, should I green my hands as well? For those of you that can't see me yet, I'm green, bottle bee, bobble bye, but also I'm flying high, defying gravity.
No, you're not Elphaba.
Man, I am going to listen to so much Wicked after this. I have to. Now it's in my spirit.
At least this is probably non-toxic paint, like unlike the people who were in The Wizard of Oz, the original one. They were all wearing lead.
Oh, it makes them stronger. They're fine.
I think it gave them cancer.
Oh, well, you know. All right. Well, you know, I think that this is just regular grease paint. And say that to my poor bathroom. Oh, man. Are there green fingerprints all over my bathroom?
I really support your commitment to our show. I'm sure Jeff loves it.
Honestly, yeah, I think I unlocked something.
Oh, no. He's into the green?
He's easy into the green. I had no idea. I sent him a picture and he was just like, whoa, are you going to have that on later? I was like, I hope not. I'm certainly going to try and scrape it off of my face and my neck. Is
it a witch fetish?
Yeah, I think it's like that. And also I think it's like also like a demon kind of thing. And I think it's like that kind of
I see.
You know.
He's also a monster fucker.
Well, he doesn't like the title monster fucker because he says that, like, he's a very selective, you know?
Right.
I think he's more of, like, a unique fucker. You know what I mean? Like, I think that he just likes, although, you know, as Elphaba, I couldn't fit in, all right?
I don't know if the title of unique fucker is better than monster fucker.
Yeah, you unique fucker, get out. Hey, how do you get a rabbit? A unique rabbit. Unique up on him. Oh, no. Unique up on him. I did a whole list of celebrity puns during page 7 last week or a couple of weeks ago, and nobody liked it. And that was, I think, Samuel L. Jackson's joke.
Well, you just workshop them here. You go right on ahead.
Thank you.
Audience, you will listen. You will listen to everyone.
I'm not popular, but I am defying gravity.
What's that mean? Oh, is that from
These Wicked references? They're just
all right. No more. We're not in Wicked.
Yeah, I'm never gonna bring it up again.
Not in Wicked. We're in Velaris.
Gonna bring it up again.
I don't trust that look on your face. I think you're lying to me.
I will say that I did scoop up my dress. You see all the green that's all over my black dress? I don't know what this makeup is, but it does not stay.
You know, it's better that it doesn't stay. You know, because if it stays for a long time.
And then it's there. Oh, yeah. And then it'll be really interesting for my stream later on today. Or maybe it's going to stay here. Maybe I'm just going to green all over everything. Go, oops, I greened.
Oops, I greened all over it.
What am I going to do? Hold in.
Okay, we gotta get in here.
All right, let's dig in.
Guys, we've got a new book. Do you see how I'm gesticulating a lot because I have this tattoos on?
You're doing the opposite. In fact, I need you to be my hands so that I don't show my shame.
Yeah,
be my hands.
I am ashamed of your hands. Disgust me.
Well, I also didn't do my ears either because I didn't want to have green paint in my ears.
I think you made the correct choice.
Thank you. Or am I not defecated? Defecated? Or am I not shitting all over this studio? Shit!
Oh, we needed to have a meeting about that, by the way.
About my defecation?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I eat too much fiber.
Before we get into this book, actually, I had a question I was thinking about earlier.
Oh.
Whenever you were the elf on that Nickelodeon show.
Yes.
Did you wear elf ears? Did you have ears?
No, we didn't have ears.
You didn't have ears, okay.
No, but we also had to stay in character because it was a kids show. We weren't allowed to break character in front of the kids, so we were supposed to pretend like we were Santa's elves the entire time. And then I just remember this kid looked me dead in the eyes and was just like, "You're not an elf. Stop lying." And I was like, whoa, you are 7. I had no idea. And I was like, you're right. I was like, I'm giving it to you. I'm going to stop lying to you. You're right. And he's like, what's your real name? And I was like, you're going to have to pay me $20. And he didn't have $20, so he never found out my real name. And
Wow,
then he
what
looked
an
at the
idiot.
call sheet.
What a dumb kid.
And then he looked at the call sheet.
Oh, he's smart.
Jazzy isn't Jazzy. She's Jackie, which sounds a lot like Jazzy.
All right. Well, I opened a whole can of worms here. I was just wondering about the years.
My trauma.
Okay, we're in a new book. We're in a court of Frost and Star. No, nope. We're in a court of Frost and Starlight.
Yeah.
Why does that sound wrong to me?
I think it's because it's such a short book and we just like never say the name of the fourth book.
Name.
We just say the fourth one, the short one, the Christmas special.
ACOTAR.
Fast. I go fast? Well, I go slow. See, I'm workshopping them.
I know. We're going to get them all through the episode and you will listen and like every single one of them. Okay, so in this book, she has a new structure a new structure of the way the story goes, basically. There's a new story structure or there's a new story structure. She's prepared us a little bit with a couple chapters from Rhysand's perspective in the last two books, so it's not the first time we've left Feyre's head.
Right.
But very few. And also, if anybody has read the bonus chapter from Cassian's POV, that also was in third person. But we haven't really discussed the bonus chapter.
No.
And I know not all of you have read it. It's very easy to find if you just want to Google it on the internet. It just say or you could say Acom Math bonus chapter, Cassian bonus chapter. It'll show up. But that bonus chapter takes place during the time of A Court of Mist and Fury. And it's classified as a deleted scene.
Oh.
So I'm not really sure if she intended it to be in the book or if it was really just a teaser that she was writing for Silver Flame. I want to talk about that chapter more once we get to Silver Flames, but this is the first time in the series we have a third-person perspective.
I did also want to throw out there that Sarah J. Maas is going to be doing this like virtual talk back, which I'm very excited about, but it is about Crescent City and not about
I don't know.
ACOTAR.
But also, she made a warning that it's full of spoilers.
Spoilers!
The book's not out yet.
I know, and I'm like, I want to go to this talk, but I don't know if I want a bunch of spoilers.
Yeah, I don't know why they would do a spoiler-laden talk before anyone's read the book.
Yeah. So, but still, I'm just throwing it out there in case, our mass heads out there want to.
The mass holes.
Please. Yes. With their donkeys. Sarah J. Maas, if you just Google Sarah J. Maas live talks, Los Angeles, you can find it.
I wish we could go to it live.
I knew. I did look to see if there were tickets because I was going to be like, surprise, Natalie, I did this cool thing. And then I didn't and I failed.
Well, no. You didn't have to tell me about it because I'm sad.
Yeah. That's what my hope was. I was like, I'm going to, you know what, today? I'm going to make Natalie sad.
Yeah. It's time to get upset today.
Fine, gravity.
No, this book
Feyre will never love me.
Oh, what did I say, Jackie? No more.
Feyre.
She doesn't exist in this
I'm sorry,
world.
different world. And
Do
we're
they live
also
on Earth?
No. I don't think so.
Where they live?
Like a fake world. I think like in a world like this that lives adjacent.
So technically they could exist in the Mass Extended Universe.
They could.
Okay. That's good to know.
They could. Well, yeah, they're not like but they go to like college and stuff. I think they more would live in like the Crescent City world. Just throwing that out there.
Okay.
I know we're not talking about Crescent City right now.
I'm sorry. I know you get upset. We're not saying it anymore.
I tell you what, I just read this scene between Hunt Athalar and Bryce, and wow.
Oh, I think I know which one you're talking about. So we're not going. This book is very tame compared to the other books,
But it's very important to the characterization of all of them.
yes, and this tiny mini book takes place in a time of relative peace after the events of A Court of Wings and Ruin. So this is post-battle, post-war, and we're getting new perspectives from several of the characters. Due to its shortness and its lack of a 3-part story structure, it's often referred to as the holiday special or the bottle episode.
But I feel like that takes away from how important it is to the characters.
I agree, but it's also funny.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, it's not like war. It's a wartime. It's like, It just is.
It is during the
Christmas.
It's solstice. Yeah.
I'm sorry. It's solstice.
There's no Christ in
There's
this
no
world.
Christ in the Feyre world, which is why I think we love it.
A little bit. In interview, SJM has said that she actually wrote this book before she finished A Court of Wings and Ruin because she really wasn't ready to leave Prythian, and it was almost an exercise for her to introduce herself to some of the characters more intimately. She's also said, and I believe this is true of many fantasy fiction authors, that she feels like she's learning about them in real time as though they're manifesting and introducing themselves to her. So she sort of wrote A Court of Frost and Starlight in that way for her to transition from Feyre's mind into the bigger land of Prythian's world because she had already decided she wanted to learn the other characters.
My face is itchy. And I can't touch it or else I'm going to get grease paint on my fingers and then I'm going to get it all over my computer.
Do you want, I could give you a stick to scratch with.
Do you have a stick?
I mean, maybe. I have a lot of crap usually in my bag.
I'll just use your car keys.
You could scratch with this?
Oh, yeah.
Maybe? It's not very sharp.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. That's it. That's how you do it. I'm just doing tiny bops. Tiny bops. Ah! How do people do this every day?
You mean like in shows?
Yeah, and like I think specifically I'm thinking about Jim Carrey in The Grinch, even though that was way worse and he had to undergo like training to get through it.
If you recall, he was miserable on that set and he hated his life.
Yeah.
He wanted to die.
Yeah.
If you ever watch any of the behind the scenes on The Grinch, he's a real Grinch because it was miserable to put on that makeup every day. So yeah, this book was her way of transitioning into the Prythian universe outside of Feyre's mind. And
which is a lot of fun. And I wasn't expecting it at all of like getting into other people's minds.
Well,
I mean, Rhys they peppered in, but if she hadn't finished it yet, that makes a lot of sense. So she was already having fun with that and then added it into A Court of Mist and Fury.
Yeah, because initially when she was writing Court of Thorns and Roses in those first books, she hadn't planned on doing the extended world, but then she really wanted to know more about the other characters. And I think a lot of her readers would be grateful that she decided to do that. I certainly like Silver Flame.
Whoa. What? Man, we're going to be so horny when we talk about Silver Flame.
It's hard to not. The whole book is.
Wow.
Knowing this about the process she went through, this book makes a lot more sense. It is almost preparing us to get away from Feyre's brain, because in this book we do have some Feyre chapters, but we're also now being reintroduced to Rhysand, who are both still in first person. But now we're adding third person limited chapters from Cassian, Morrigan, and one tiny little bitty part from Nesta's perspective. That's really only about 2 pages.
Oh, but we're going to get so much more.
We will. This is sort of a non-common storytelling structure, but I wouldn't call it third-person omniscient because usually that means that it's like a god figure that can see inside of everyone's
Well, it's
head.
separate from inside of their brain. It wouldn't be from their perspective.
So this would be third-person limited, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. Maybe you'll tell me literature majors, but Jackie, you're saying I'm right.
I mean, it is a limited, perspective no matter what. So omniscient was always coming from like a above someone that knows what everybody's thinking. So I like having things for like, it says so much more about the character and the plot when you are getting that perspective from like inside of their brain, which I think adds so much more to the story, which is part of the reason why I love these books already. Like I get that omniscient narrator out of here.
Get him out. And I actually will talk obviously more about Silver Flame when we get there, but I really enjoyed the structure that she does in there that's in third person. We'll go a little bit more into that. But this is a little bit more cut and dry where each chapter has the person's name at the top, and so you know immediately.
So you don't have to guess.
So out of curiosity, I wanted to see the ratio of everybody in the 28 chapters in this book, and there are 16 chapters from Feyre's first person. There's 7 from Rhys's first person, 3 from Cassian's third, and 2 from Morrigan's third person. And then Nesta's little 2 pages third person actually take place during Cassian's chapter. So she doesn't even get her own chapter, which is an interesting little addition. Like I said, we're in the aftermath of the war with Hybern. The Night Court has come back to Velaris, triumphant, shell-shocked, but still alive.
Ugh. That post-war glow that everybody has.
Because they're covered in blood.
Yeah. And just like profusely sweating because they can't believe they're still alive.
I get a blood facial, so maybe they were glowing.
Man, you did get the blood from bats, right?
No, it's from my body. Yeah, PRP facial.
You're a witch.
It is very witchy, and I enjoy that they take your own blood out and then put it on your face.
Put it back in. They say, yeah, they clean it up, or do they dirty it up?
They spin out the plasma, and then they use part of the blood.
I don't even know what that means.
It's science. Listen, it's science, okay?
Oh, it's science. It's science.
So a few months have passed since the war, and chapter 1 is from Feyre's POV as she's looking on at Velaris from the dining room of the townhouse, watching a snowfall. Ding dong, dee-doo-dee-doo.
It is weird rereading this right now when it is 100 degrees outside. We're about to be hit with a hurricane. Don't even get when I'm not talking about books. Do I love talking about weather? Am I following this hurricane very closely? Yes, I am.
Almost became a meteorologist, Jackie Zabrowski.
But I won't talk about the hurricane anymore right now, but I want everyone to know I'm thinking about the hurricane.
Do you know about different kinds of snow?
No.
Well, then you're useless to me.
But but my high school was our mascot was the hurricane. And so every time you would play, they had to play in entirety. Here I am, rock you like a hurricane.
That is a weird mascot to have in a place where people die in hurricanes all the time.
Yeah.
It's bizarre. It's very strange.
Yeah, but it's kind of like cute. We didn't have many teams worth anything, so it was fine.
I wonder if somebody's going to have a COVID mascot soon. Isn't it funny?
I mean, when they really brought out all those 9/11 mascots, that's when I was like, I think this has gone too far.
Probably in 100 years there will be. All right, here we go. It's nearly winter solstice, we learn in this first chapter, and that also means it's almost Feyre's birthday.
Oh, she's got complicated feelings about her birthday. # same girl.
Samesies. Can relate.
Can relate.
No, I actually don't. My birthday's fine. This first chapter somewhat serves us with a recap of the last book's events, as well as orienting us with the timeline. She mentions in the first few pages, as she reminisces to herself, that she had first met Tamlin almost 2 years from the date that she's in this book. In the equivalent to January, I think.
All of this stuff has happened in 2 years.
I know, it's wild.
That's insane.
She also notes it's been almost a year since her disastrous almost wedding to Tamlin, when Rhysand had claimed his bargain in the 11th hour, when she internally cried out for help. So we're a year past that in a court of Frost and Starlight. I keep forgetting the name of it.
It's okay. You can just say Akafast.
Africa.
And I'm always going to say Agoslow. And it's never going to bother you, and you're going to love it every single time.
Yeah. Yeah. In the present of the book, she is thinking about how happy she is to have her mate and her court in this beautiful life, and can hardly believe it. It's a casual chapter meant to set the scene of their domestic life. For the moment, they're still trying to put the world back together. It's not like they're just like chilling now, but they're preparing.
It's the holidays.
Yeah, they're preparing for the solstice, and they take that seriously. And it's one that Feyre is actually excited about, as opposed to some in the past where she had to play courtier and lord's wife.
And also all those years where she was like starving,
poor, and they didn't have any food and stuff.
But boy, was she painting.
Well, actually, no, the humans don't celebrate. Remember, they don't have holidays.
Right. That's right. They don't believe in anything, which I feel like is
pretty fun.
Hell yeah, man.
I mean, it's bleak, but
I think that it really comes from a bleakness.
Yes.
That usually religion provides hope for so many people.
Well, at least have a holiday, even if you're not religious.
Yeah, just
like celebrating the earth or whatever.
Yeah.
Which I think is what they kind of do with the solstice here. The first person that Feyre encounters as she walks to the kitchen is Nuala, who is making a pie. As she speaks with Nuala about the coming festivities, we're also reminded of the end of the war, where she's thinking about when Rhysand died, and she accentuates in her mind how unbearable it was.
Man, if I died and then came back, I would bring it up in every fight I had with my husband. I'd be like, I died and I came back. You should be happy that I'm back. You're upset with me?
I fixed the cauldron with my body.
Yes, you can never be upset with me ever again.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely should take advantage of that and be as horrible as possible.
Horrible as possible.
She thinks about how she's still afraid it's all not real, and her dreams are filled with these moments that he didn't survive, and she relives it over and over. So though both her and Rhys are still recovering emotionally from the end of that violent and deadly war, they have work to keep them occupied. So she is definitely going back and forth between the sort of gratitude and joy and fear. And I think that we can all relate to that too. When sometimes you have a nice thing, you're like, it's going to go away.
It's going to go away. When is the other shoe going to drop?
Yeah. She is grateful for the work because
I sometimes dreaded the quiet, idle days when all those thoughts snared me at last, when there was nothing but me and my mind, and that memory of Rhys lying dead on the rocky ground, the king of Hybern snapping my father's neck, all those Illyrians blasted out of the sky and falling to earth as ashes. I understand. I have a bad day at work sometimes, and I'm like, how do I let this go?
Yeah, no, I get it.
Sometimes when you record and you're like, I don't feel the best about that episode. Like, I understand her.
Yeah, it's pretty much the same. It's like our podcast isn't good that one day, and it does feel like thousands of Illyrians falling to this to the
And
ground
my
as
daddy's neck being snapped.
Oh, ouchie.
He's got a rubber neck, my dad. I've tried, believe me. Oh,
tried.
Man. While he's sleeping.
She knows she won't be able to push it away forever, but for now she is contented being able to see and touch her mate every day.
Yeah.
Nuala speaks with Feyre about how the solstice goes in Velaris, and Nuala gives her the basic rundown that the solstice is essentially especially important in the Night Court due to it being the longest night of the year.
Yeah.
Feyre is relieved that it's generally celebrated in an intimate way with only close friends and family, and that those people exchange gifts with one another on top of the eating and drinking and dancing.
Oh, that sounds great.
Yeah. Nuala also explains that there is a temple ceremony that some people attend that involves sitting in the darkness all night as a way to reflect, but clarifies that her twin, and Rhysand don't find it peaceful due to their imprisonment.
You know. I tried not to look too relieved that I wouldn't be dragged to a temple for hours as I nodded.
I feel like it was made me laugh because I feel like it is pointed like she's talking about her having to be dragged to temples.
Oh my God. My mom was in the friggin' church choir, and the only time we ever had to go, we would have to go for midnight mass on Christmas, and then every time the dude up there would just be like, oh, I really wish that the church would be filled other times of the year besides Christmas. And I'm like, why am I fucking here? Get me out of here.
Oh, we're going to church tonight.
Oh, good. Is it extra long because it's Christmas? Oh, even better.
No offense to anybody who likes it. I'm sorry.
No, I think if you find solace in it, good for you. I think that's great.
Good for you. I love that for you.
I love that for you. Yeah. I love that journey for you. I think that you go on. Go on away from me.
In case we weren't being condescending. Feyre goes up to her bedroom and gets dressed in a sweater and leggings. This is my my outfit, my casual Feyre.
Show off them. Let's see them hands.
What?
Oh my God. Hand model Natalie Jean. Honestly, the gloves look really good on camera. It does look like you drew it on your hands.
I feel bad. I can't remember the Etsy seller who does these.
That's good. I'm glad you feel bad. Again, this is what I said. That was my goal for this episode.
I should probably find it and say it.
Okay.
The Red Fox shop is where I got these. And, oh no, now I'm looking at all the Etsy shops. With all the
get away from the
clothes.
Etsy. Get away from the Feybe stuff.
Look at this dress.
Oh my God, look at that dress.
Ooh, Starfall dress.
Bros, when we go to the Starfall Ball.
Woohoo! I'm already thinking about outfits.
Oh, I'm already dreaming about outfits.
Ooh, I like this dress.
Honestly, it's for the best. Thank God we've got the Starfall Ball because, the times when you're just like idly looking at your phone shopping for things you don't need. Now I have something to like look for rather than me just actually buying things that I don't need. I'm like, this is just me doing work for work.
It is, though.
Yeah, it's for work.
Write it off.
It's for work.
Write it off. All right, let's see.
Red Fox Shop.
Feyre makes sure to note that she is in an outfit that she's super comfortable in. She's in a sweater and leggings and some fashion for her that is, I'm sure, still very lovely on her, but she doesn't have to be put into like huge, overwhelming gowns all the time.
I'm also into this fashion though, like comfy fashion. Yes.
Still sexy, you know?
Of course it is, because like what's under the sweater?
But she also's got like her leggings and her boots and stuff and what's
horse
under
girl.
the sweater.
Yeah, man. Horse girl.
Boobies.
Breasts are under there.
As she walks through this day, there is a constant back and forth in her internal battle of her happiness and the intrusive thoughts of the traumas of war, reminding us that this is just past this battle. In this first chapter, Rhysand is away doing his High Lord's business, and she notes that their shared bedroom is beginning to feel a little cluttered with both of their belongings, as well as their 2 work desks.
Get the work desks out of the bedroom.
I mean, that is
definitely
definitely
the last place you're supposed to have your work desks.
Yeah, very much recommend not doing that if you have the opportunity to not have your work desk in your bedroom. Not a good plan for them. I don't know why they decided to do that.
And also, you have an entire estate.
I know.
Take a different room. What are you talking about?
What are you talking about?
What are you talking about? I just, where my papes at?
Oh, no.
Come on, boys.
The newsie's back. So she also notes that they have also their various weapons, of course. And has she tried the container store?
I don't know. Where else are you going to put them? I mean, we need to organize these things up a little bit. It's not like they've got the money for the container store.
Right.
Don't even get me started on how expensive the container store is.
She notes a, quote, wicked-looking mace that reads...
Wicked?
Oh, no.
Yeah, I am defying gravity. I'm flying high, I'm defying gravity, and you'll never let me down.
Somebody stop her.
I'll keep going.
I mean, your voice is lovely. I wish that
I'm no Elphaba. We all know I can't be in a Dean DeZiel. How many layers that was. Idina Menzel, but when John Trey introduced her as Adil Dazeem, that's what it was.
Yes, it was very funny in that moment. I love that moment so much.
Not this moment, but that moment. Hilarious.
So she found this like absurd sort of like medieval looking weapon and thinks about how she doesn't know how it got there, but she imagines somehow Cassian had something to do with it because he loves his weapons.
Yeah.
Also, they have their swords and their quivers and arrows everywhere.
Oh, they're quivers.
Yes, they're quivering.
Honestly, I feel the same way about quiver as I do loincloth. Very into the word loincloth.
You're into it?
Yeah. Or breechcloth. Whoa. What's under there? Dicks and breasts. I guess if you have a loincloth, if your loincloth is all the way up to your breasts, I mean, I'm sorry.
I think that's just a shirt.
Oh, that's a shirt. Okay.
So their old townhouse has begun to feel cluttered, it turns out, because Elaine is still living there and the other inner circle's always coming and staying. And Feyre's just sort of making note of that. Like, oh, we're kind of getting filled up here, even though Nesta has decided to live across town. Even though she does mention that she tried to keep Nesta in the house, but she said no. She wanted to move away from the family.
I do find this crazy because this is coming from someone that literally lived in a one-room shack with 4 other people for most of her life. And then, bam, 2 years later, this castle is too small. You know what? I need more castle.
Oh, I see. For Feyre, I thought you meant Nesta.
No, for Feyre.
Yeah.
No, Nesta probably wants smaller.
No, I say lean into it. If you've made it, you own that you want more castle.
You're right.
Never enough. So Nesta, though, has decided she wants to go somewhere else. Lucian has as well, because as it turns out, he has taken up an apartment in Velaris.
Whoa, he doesn't want to go back to Tamlin, Daddy.
Yeah, because if you remember at the end of Wings and Ruin, that last little scene, he was debating on where he was going to go, and it turns out he did move into Velaris. But yeah, so Nesta's apartment of choice it leaves something to be desired. For reasons unknown at this time in this chapter, she's decided to live in the crappiest place Velaris permits, though we won't hear the details about it just yet. But Feyre notes Lucian's apartment is perfectly nice, and we learn that he took up the residence there after a quick trip to the Spring Court. When he returned, it was clear that Tamlin had beat the shit out of him, which is not cool.
No, it's not. And also, Tamlin, just like the second, like every time there's a second of like, shades of gray, and then you do something like that, and it's like, man, fuck you, dude.
His temper's very juvenile.
Yes, it's so unattractive.
But he's like 500 years old.
Get over
Grow
it.
up, Bob.
Yes.
Even still, Elaine and Lucian don't seem to be making any headway, even though they're in the same city together, and in fact barely seem to be acknowledging each other.
Yet even with Lucian and Nesta staying in their own apartments, the townhouse was a bit small these days. Even more so if Cassian and Azriel stayed over. And the House of Wind was too big, too formal, too far from the city proper. Nice for a night or two, but I loved this house.
Is this perhaps foreshadowing? Too big, too small, but just the right size is somewhere.
So she is all three of the bears. Feyre isn't a woman. I'm sorry.
I think the houses would technically be the bears.
The houses would be the
She's
bears.
like Goldilocks.
Oh, I guess she is like Goldilocks. I guess that makes more sense in the fairy tale world and not that she would be the bears.
You can call her the bear, though.
Wouldn't it be so cute? And then she's all like, yes, chef. I'm referencing a different pop
You're on a referencing overdrive. Oh no!
It's honestly maybe
that was
this
like 6 layers of reference.
Yeah, maybe it might be lead paint. I think that I'm eating lead paint. I think that I am hallucinating. I don't know where I am. I don't know what I'm doing.
We're recording a podcast that people have to listen to. So even though it's crowded, she genuinely is looking forward to having Solstice there with her loved ones, which I also enjoy hosting a party in my home.
Oh, yeah.
She contemplates speaking to Rhys about hiring a secretary, and Rhys reaches out down the bond between them as she is thinking about these things, and also while she's recalling earlier in the week when all of the charities she was working on in Velaris on recovery from the war told her to go home and enjoy her holiday. So she's running through all these different thoughts in her head, and then Rhys shows up in the bond. He tells her that he's currently at Devlin's camp with Cassian, and the two of them, Feyre and Rhys, exchange quick, flirty thoughts.
Do you think the bond has like a do not disturb function?
I think, well, they mention how they caress each other's walls.
I think we were just looking each other in the eyes as you said it, and then your hand. It was just, I'm sorry,
What,
I
my
shuddered.
hand?
Oh my God. Look at that sleeve work.
Well, they do. The way it is written is that they sort of do have to like knock at the door a little bit. And also Rhys mentions that he tries to not read into people's brains unless it's like
he has
absolutely
to,
necessary.
Yeah.
But he shows up because earlier in the day she had asked where he was and he didn't answer, but she wasn't worried because she could sense him. And that now she finds out he's at Devlin's camp with Cassian, and they have their little quick flirty married couple exchange, and then he quote sends a caress of night to her.
Sick.
And then is gone.
I'd get a full report about it soon, but for now, I smiled at the snow waltzing outside the windows.
So this first chapter is just reintroducing us to Feyre in a calm time, and we are probably, as the reader, happy to know that she's feeling loved and joyful in many ways, even though she's still troubled. She's troubled but happy.
Mm-hmm.
And we're getting also through this book, the glimpse of how everyone is dealing with the aftermath in their own ways. It's not a happily ever after, but it's a happy-ish.
Yes.
Happily ever after is boring anyway.
Yeah, and this is, I mean, I think that it's fun to play with the idea, like, in between the large, like, plots and big, huge things of, like, how do the characters react when they just are sitting with themselves? Like, I think, I
think the psychology of that is really cool and interesting. Even in, like, real life stuff, I like to think about people, even, like, crime, like, criminals and stuff. I'm more curious about what they're like on their day-to-day basis, like, how they deal with stuff like that. So I do find these kind of moments interesting between, like, the huge, like, I'm championing a war, I'm at the front lines. I want to know what they're doing and when they're going on holiday. And I think it's interesting.
Well, and especially, like, you start to see, and I know we'll see it a lot more in the next book, that, like, Moss is, like, also, like, dealing with her own bullshit in her own life and, like, bringing a lot more, like, mental health aspects into the books. Like, there's such a shift from, like, in between the third and the fourth book that I think is, like, a real growth.
Well, she's technically was still, like, growing up.
Yeah.
She's
especially the beginnings of these books.
Yeah. I mean, she's only 37, I think 38 now.
Be our friend. You can be our friend.
So that would probably mean she was, like, in her early 30s when she was writing these sections of the books, and you're still becoming yourself at that point. You know? You're growing into yourself for sure. So chapter 2, we're now with Rhysand. We're with him in real time as he's intercepting between Cassian and Devlin. So this is basically just a continuation of the moments that we just saw Feyre. And we also get an idea of how he feels in these months following the war in these first couple pages. He describes the Illyrian camp, how he sees it, which is very interesting because we've mostly got an overarching impression from Feyre. But Rhys grew up in this camp and knows its ins and outs more. So
it's described a lot less, like, brutishly than it was in the last book.
And she doesn't know the nuances like he does. And Rhysand knows the social politics and the way the hierarchy works. So this is the first time we're seeing it from him. And he notes, like, in this chapter that the males running businesses and the active trades there are actually failed warriors. And that and that the females running about are living within strict boundaries, bred to feel loyal only to their males and to the keeping of house. Rhys finds it distasteful and thinks that there can be pride in housework and drudgery, but they should be given choices. And that
he's our feminist ally.
And that is the topic at hand during this argument that is happening before Rhys. Devlin has begrudgingly allowed some females to receive training, but he and Cassian are arguing about how much training is acceptable. Devlin is trying to get the females to prepare for the solstice and shirk their training hours, and Cassian's not having it. Because basically, Devlin's saying they need to prepare the houses and
get them
all
into
that
the
stuff.
kitchens.
Yeah.
Yes.
And Cassian's demanding that Devlin let them have at least half of their normal training hours still during the holiday time. Without Rhys there, he knows that Devlin would give Cassian an even harder time. And the two of them are basically working together to convince Devlin to let the females train for an hour and a half a day and make it seem like Devlin was choosing the amount of hours. Like, they did a very tricky thing where they demanded more hours, and then he was like, no. An hour, and he's basically, like, thinking Devlin won.
Negotiation tactics.
Yeah.
So, I'm not very good at negotiating. Are you surprised?
Well, if you had to be running an Illyrian war camp, you'd get into it. I feel like you could figure it out.
But even in this part, like, I just, like, always feel like, but what happens to these women when they're not around to, like, protect them? Like, we know that, like, they don't want to be training women. They don't want women fighting. They want women at home, like you said, doing all the solstice stuff. So I would just worry so much about what happens to them when I'm not there.
Well, that's when we get into Cassian's chapter, he addresses that, actually. I know what you mean, though, with negotiation, because I don't do, like, price bickering on stuff. Like, I'm not going to go haggling.
Yeah, I'm very bad. Yeah, I'm very bad. I'm like, whatever you want.
Yeah,
yes,
I'm sure you made a good price, sir.
Wow, good choice.
I do not.
Should I give you more?
I know some people really like doing that. I do not care for it.
Oh my God, Jeff is so good at it.
It makes me uncomfortable.
Me too, but he's like, but Jackie's like, people expect to be haggled with. Like,
I know.
Like, and I'm like, I know, but I don't know how to do it. I'm just like, hey, partner. Oh, wow. See a price on there. Whoa. You know, like, I feel like I would, I don't know, don that character.
Just have an accent for some reason. Yeah, no,
like
I'm
in
not good
Schitt's
at it.
Creek.
Yeah. Yeah. Not for me personally. But they're good at it, and they've convinced Devlin to let the females train for an hour and a half a day. And Rhys reflects on how much he must measure out, how much he interferes, because he knows he must interfere, because even though the Illyrians are sworn to the Night Court in Prythian, there are always bands of them cropping up who wish to revolt or want to side with the enemies of Night Court, because people revolt, especially these kind of, brutish warriors. Sometimes they don't like what they're being given. And so
you kind of got to keep them happy, but you don't want to keep them all the way happy because they're also brutes. So
you got to show up sometimes and make your little demands, but then don't be overbearing with everything either.
Oh, he's such a good High Lord.
He really is. After they settle with Devlin, Cassian and Rhys head to their little house on the campgrounds where they grew up, basically. And they go inside to have their little discussions afterwards. And Rhys laments that he needs a holiday, one that involves sleeping and, quote, burying himself inside of Feyre.
Man, this is just bro talk right now.
He recalls to himself how he was desperate for her so much the week prior that he had taken her in disguise over Velaris after she gave him a longing look.
A moment later, I'd been inside her and had nearly sent us crashing into the rooftops like an Illyrian whelp. Feyre had just laughed. I'd climaxed at the husky sound of it.
Sorry, I made you say climax.
It's okay. I mean, he climaxed right in the sky. And where does the spend go? I don't know.
I think he just
inside.
Oh,
okay,
yeah.
all right.
They take tonics, so he can do whatever he wants.
Oh yeah, he could do whatever he wants. In my head, I just imagine him going like "Hiya!" and just like
falling out of like an airplane waist.
Yeah, yeah, and you'd be like, "Oh, I guess it was just a pigeon. Are there pigeons in Velaris?
Oh, gross!
Oh, it's on my car.
Yuck! Just cum falling out of the sky. Gross.
When your High Lord's that hot, I mean, we'd understand.
I guess you'd go like, "Thank you, High Lord," and then you'd
it.
put it in a jar and keep it on your hearth.
Oh, that would be pretty fun.
So he's remembering this moment they had, but then is brought back to the present as Cassian tells him some bad news. Dissensions brewing. Not the normal expected kind, but because of the battle that just occurred, because of the mass casualties in the war that just happened. Thousands and thousands had perished under the cauldron's wicked power. Some believe that Rhys and Cassian did it on purpose to avenge their own childhoods, which is not fair, but also had they done that, would they be that surprised? Because they treated them like fucking garbage. But that's not the way the Cassian and Rhysand are.
No.
Okay? Cassian suggests that he remain at the camps over solstice to keep it in order, but Rhys shuts it down. No, he is to come home for the holidays.
No, I have to fuck my mate.
Well, no, Cassian wants to stay, and Rhys says you are not. Staying.
No, that's why he wants to go home.
He wants Cassian to be there with the family.
Which, yeah.
Cassian notes a sharpness in Rhys's tone and guesses correctly that he is exhausted and, yes, horny.
Horny.
Cassian teases him, and Rhys thinks about how he saw Cassian almost die. He's doing the same thing where he's kind of having these moments of joy with his friend and then immediately thinking about his almost death. And that
I'd probably think about it fairly often.
Can anyone say Andrews of that?
Mm-hmm.
So he's also thinking about that peculiar moment between he and Nesta. How since that day that she tried to cover Cassian's body with her own, the two of them had barely spoken to each other since that day.
I mean, I feel like that's way more vulnerable than just having sex with a friend. And it's already difficult enough after that. And then it's like, oh, I tried to save you. And then we had that kiss. But I really thought you were going to die. But you didn't die. And now we got to deal with this weird situation that we didn't expect to be in.
Well, especially because I don't think anybody knew that she was going to then twice save Cassian and then basically agree to die with him.
Yeah.
And then when you don't die, you're like, well, I just basically professed my love to you. And now we...
And what do? Pretend like it didn't happen.
Right.
Oh, that's really going to help.
And it's really more on Nesta. It's not on Cassian.
Yeah. I mean, she moved out and was just like, I'm gonna go be over here.
Yeah. We learn here from Rhys that Nesta's chosen home is in the closest thing Velaris has to a slum, and that she has completely cut off contact with the rest of them. He feels pained from watching it hurt Feyre, but isn't sure yet how to help. But he has a lot of negative feelings towards Nesta. Rhys and Cassian's conversation has lightened some after this, and they are discussing the upcoming festivities when Cassian ventures and before Cassian finishes the question, Rhysand responds, both sisters will be at the house, whether they want to or not. Cassian looks grim and warns that Nesta's not going to be happy about it. But Rhys, in his arrogant and determined ways, says that she will be and she will like it. Because in his head, he knows that it will lighten his precious mate's heart.
Aww.
His precious mate.
Yes.
I don't know why I said it all rude like that. Cassian ventures.
I'm scared of you.
Yeah, it should be.
Thank you.
Cassian ventures to too casually ask how Nesta is doing anyway. I totally forgot about her, and I wasn't even wondering, but like, oh right, Nesta.
Second. Yeah, no, like that's crazy that I just happen to be thinking about her.
How is that person I forgot about completely?
Oh my God, can you imagine his journal entries though right now? And she's like,
Dear diary. Oh God, I remember when I kissed her.
Oh, and he's just like jerking off to it.
Yeah, he's jerking off.
Oh yeah.
Rhys tells him that she is just keeping to her own life and that she's refused any job that Rhys has offered her because he keeps trying to give her employment. We, of course, learn later that she's not doing any job except being a good time Sally.
Ooh,
I've held that job from time to time in my life.
Oh, yeah, man. And it is sad.
It is. It's really exhausting.
You think it's really fun.
A lot.
You're always hungover. You're always like kind of hate yourself. And like, you're like, no, I'm living. No, I'm just living my dreams and I'm independent.
Right.
And you go through that whole thing. And you're like, I don't need anybody. And then you're like really hurting yourself. And
yeah. I could wonder, maybe I could say maybe Nesta's doing that. I don't know.
We don't know yet.
No, Rhys wants her doubly there because it's also, if you'll recall, Feyre's birthday. It's suddenly, when Rhys is thinking about all of this, striking him how young she is. She's only turning 21. And then he begins to think,
my beautiful, strong, fierce mate, shackled to me.
And then Cassian can sense that he's thinking these things and stops him. He sees he's spiraling and he shuts it down because Rhys in his head is putting that upon Feyre, being like, she's stuck with me now. And then Cassian
I'm pretty sure she's happy.
She seems pretty satisfied.
Really sure she's doing all right.
Cassian says as much. Feyre is not shackled to you, Rhys.
Yeah.
She loves Rhys more deeply than Cassian has ever seen anyone love another Fae.
Oh.
Rhys admits it's sometimes hard to remember that she chose him and wasn't stuck to him the way his parents were, because he watched his mom be sort of shackled to his dad.
Therapy.
Cassian then admits that he's sometimes jealous of what he and Feyre have, that Cassian didn't really believe in the mating bond and that it was real until he watched it happen for them.
Oh.
Rhys is still feeling troubled and tells Cass he sometimes can't accept that he gets all of this. Seeing the pain in Rhys's eyes, Cassian crosses the room and embraces him, assures him, "You made it. We made it." He wants Rhys to remember to enjoy the thing that he fought for. Rhys is moved and asks Cassian if he is okay.
Shadows darkened his hazel eyes.
I'm getting there.
Oh, well, yeah, he's also going through a lot. I love being inside of Rhys's brain and seeing their, like, bro love.
How much they love each other.
And just, like, and how much that they actually, like, talk about their feelings. And, like, this is such a big part of, like, the characterization of both of them and how they connect to each other and how it's not just like so much more than like being raised as an Illyrian is so much about being brutish and being strong, and like they don't emphasize emotional connection, and like they've always had that.
Yeah.
Which means Rhys has always not been like the other boys.
Really.
Also, yes, I have attached
It
the
works
clip
for that.
to
It
my
looks like
finger.
you have a claw. And
Yeah.
actually, also, Racina's fingers are described as long and slender.
Long and slender. So this one long and slender, but also it is still two, because this wig keeps getting caught in the makeup on my face, and so it is it's like a bunch of
you're like in a child's Halloween costume right now.
yes, I am. I feel like it's like a tiny torture of just like little itches all across your face.
Yeah.
Not with this clip. I'm getting green paint all over your clip.
I assumed it. So, and actually, you bringing that up about Cassian, it is interesting. Like, at one point, I do want to talk about the bonus chapters because this is our first real look into Cassian's head, because the next chapter is beginning now, and it is Cassian's chapter, and it picks right up where we last left off with Rhys leaving after their embrace in the house there, and I'm curious to talk about it because the tone of Cassian has kind of changed between that extra chapter and now. He is, in the extra chapter, he's a little bit more aggressive. And this version of him is much more like he is in Silver Flames. Granted, he's not bad. He's not a bad guy in the bonus chapter, and Nesta is being awful to him, but like I've already mentioned, like he calls her a bitch and stuff in that chapter. And there's between that chapter and this book, there's supposed to be about a year's worth of time. So I don't know if there's like Nesta's changed, so he's changed. Or
but also think of what they just went through at the end of the war. Like that will very much not only change you as a person, but change the relationship that they have between the two of them.
Yeah. And I will say, like in the bonus chapter, he's still very much Cassian, but he's a little bit more sexually aggressive.
I hadn't noticed.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Yeah, I hate that chapter.
I hate it. So now when we're first alongside Cassian in this chapter 3, he's reflecting on his irritation with Devlin and his cohorts. He walks out of the house feeling smug as he stretches his limbs and wings in front of the other warriors.
Ooh, just imagine the muscles of his back rippling. I don't give a shit about back muscles. I couldn't care less. But just something about Cassian just like unfurling his wings in front of them and just like his siphons gleaming. Good Lord!
And also, I mean, you got to love it because they were so cruel to him. And now he's just like, yeah, I'm bigger than you. What?
So fucking strong.
Because they know that even though he was bastard born and they resent him, he's 10 times the warrior they ever will be. And Cassian doesn't let them forget it.
Don't you forget it.
No. Then he shoots into the sky, and up there he revels in the flight, his love for the wind and freedom. So he's basically flying across Velaris. He's basically flying across the night court.
One might say he's defying gravity.
No.
One might say it. I'm not singing. I'm just saying that, like, maybe he gets me.
Oh, yeah, I think so.
He also has a difficult time.
Even though he feels exhilaration in the sky, this place he's aiming for right now, we learn it's not a place that he's excited to go to. So he's flying to a specific location that it's not a joyous one. It's a place that he thinks about that he doesn't often journey unless he's raging or reflecting on things.
I have talked about in my own home putting up a little like tent that was going to be my own like my sneer place is what I called it. Like if I need to sneer, I'm just going to go in there and sit and just like, because I don't have, do you have a cry place?
Not specifically, but no, I guess maybe my car.
I was about to say, yeah, I guess the car.
Sometimes.
Car culture, man. It really gives you a really good place to cry.
Yeah, that's hard with public transportation. Can't cry as much.
Although in New York, man, I used to just openly weep, and you know what? Nobody cared.
Yeah, the subway's so filled with things happening.
Nobody cared. And I would just like walk down the street just like and I just remember going through a breakup and just like walking the streets crying and just drinking a tall boy out of a brown paper bag. The New York City streets.
Good old dirty New York. So as Cassian's going to his sneer tent, he looks down at the endless span of barren mountain ranges below him and feels a sense of wonder and dread. He knows that there are ancient beasts down there that only slither out at night to feed. Oh. He passes over Ramiel, the sacred mountain of the Night Court, the one on the insignia, who is perfectly framed by 3 stars once a year.
None were permitted on its barren, rocky slopes, save for the Illyrians, and only once a year at that, during the blood rite. Cassian soared toward it, unable to resist Ramiel's ancient summons. Different. The mountain was so different from the barren, terrible presence of the lone peak in the center of Prythian. Ramiel had always felt alive, somehow, awake and watchful.
So here, the blood rite is mentioned again. Could be foreshadowing. Cassian thinks of the day that he and his brothers participated in this sacred blood rite, reserved for Illyrian males only. How they had completed a rite that so few had, that they had finished, I guess, basically the rite. So few people who had participated and had done over hundreds of years.
Especially people that weren't bastard born, like these lowly people. The rite hadn't changed in the centuries since. Early each spring, it still went on. Hundreds of warrior novices deposited across the mountains and forests surrounding the peak. The territory off limits during the rest of the year to prevent any of the novices from scouting ahead for the best routes and traps to lay. There were varying qualifiers throughout the year to prove a novice's readiness, each slightly different depending on the camp. But the rules remain the same.
So this is really where we're first getting some idea of what the blood rite is. We also learn here that the goal at the end of the blood rite is to reach an enchanted stone at the top of Ramiel, though over the thousands of warriors in training that have been sent to this rite, very few had made it. Of course, the Bat Boys did, though.
Of course they did! Our Bat Boys are better than other Bat Boys!
They really are. During this ritual, Illyrians are forbidden from flying or using magic. Their weapons are taken away and they must survive the 3 days. Those days aligned perfectly with the days that the stars frame the peak.
I bet it's gorgeous.
Oh my God, gorgeous. Can you imagine?
Oh.
The tradition is so old, Cassian doesn't know if the Night Court insignia came first or the blood rite. He also doesn't know who placed the stone atop the mountain so many centuries ago. And we see that a lot within Prythian. Many of the traditions and magical occurrences are so old in this world that many times none of the characters have record of why or how they happened, even if you call it prison. They don't know who started the prison or any of that. So then Cassian has an interesting reflection.
Who had put that stone atop the peak? He didn't know either. Legend said it had existed before the Night Court formed, before the Illyrians migrated from the Myrmidons, before humans had ever walked the earth. Even with the fresh snow crusting Ramiel, none had touched the pillar of stone.
So this is a little piece of contextual history casually sprinkled in now that we're privy to Cass's thoughts.
Because now she can build on some of like the actual, like what these characters are based on. Like she's like building the story underneath, which is really cool.
It is fun. I don't recall ever hearing that they came from the Myrmidons. Right? Do you remember ever hearing that in the books?
No.
That name itself is derived from Greek mythology and is often interpreted as meaning the ant people.
Oh.
Or that is to say a race of people who are basically worker ants, which kind of makes sense for Illyrian warriors.
Oh, yeah.
And it's also from Homer's Iliad. So I wonder if Illyrians comes from that as well. Iliad. It's very close.
Man, I know a lot about the Iliad.
But the
It's
Myrmidons,
not true. I was lying.
I mean, I read
I've never
that
read
in
it.
the Odyssey in college, but that's about it. Wow. Yeah, I read books.
Whoa. All right. Well, let's give it up for Natalie Jean here. She's reading books outside of just fuck books, okay? She's got other books. Look at these hands. Or you do the clap like Nicole Kidman when she had all the diamonds on her hands.
Yay.
Oh, God, she did make that sound.
But yeah, in Homer's Iliad, the Myrmidons are soldiers commanded by Achilles. And the Iliad, of course, being, I'm sure most of you know, it's one of the world's first notable epic fantasy novels, in essence, where like a lot of fantasy books have, basically you can derive a lot of them from these books, from the Iliad and the Odyssey. Another note on that passage, the way it's phrased, he makes it sound like humans had been there first. I don't know if that's how I'm reading that line, but to me, it sounds like he's saying that humans predated the Illyrians or the Fae on this world.
Whoa.
Maybe that's just how I'm reading it, but that's what it sounds like. But anyway, Ramiel's not where Cassian is headed that day. He turns and aims for another location, another camp. At least it used to be a camp.
Only cinders and debris remained anyway. He'd made sure of it.
Because this camp is where he was born. And it's there that his mother, who he insinuates was basically Ard, lived a short and miserable life where she was treated almost as a leper for having a bastard son, even though she was assaulted.
Yeah.
And was battered and
Like she had
mistreated.
much of a fucking choice in this.
I mean, this happens in our world too all the time. As Amber likes to tell on Spun, the story of at her church,
oh no.
the preacher was having an affair with a 16-year-old, and everybody in the church went, well, what do you expect? Her parents are divorced.
Huh?
As
What?
somehow it was her fault. Like she had seduced him with her divorced parents.
You wonder why we don't want to go to midnight
I
mass.
know. Fuck you, man. That's why. But yeah, so this is very similar where at this camp where he was born, he was taken away from her very young to go, as most Illyrian kids are, tossed off at camp at like 3 years old. And when
Which is crazy because like I just saw Holden's 2-year-old perform a recital. We both saw her perform a recital. Not 1 second of the choreo. She just stood there.
She was
and she kept walking off the stage.
Listen, as somebody who's been in a lot of dance recitals, the point of a 2-year-old on stage is to look cute. You don't gotta do
She looked
shit.
very, very cute. I'm just saying, you got 3-year-olds.
Oh, yeah, no.
You gotta go train these 3-year-olds. Can you imagine? She looked very cute in the tutu. But I didn't see one pirouette.
You know what, though?
I didn't see one, I don't even know,
It's 'cause
second form.
They're not taking her dance training seriously.
No.
The real crazy stage moms start training their 2- and 3-year-olds at like the hardcore studios, and they don't get to have childhoods.
No,
but
that's
then they
the problem.
become Maddie Ziegler.
Yes, no, that's the problem. Lexi and Holden are just being too nice.
They're not
To their
making
2-year-olds.
her a winner.
Perform.
No, please don't. It sucks when people do that to
No,
their
it would be
children.
horrible. I'm so glad that she stood on the stage and didn't do anything.
It was
I was like,
so
good for you.
cute. And
yeah,
then-
go against the man. Yeah.
And then when she got off stage, she did the choreography for us off
us.
stage because I think she got scared from the lights.
so cute.
They didn't even give the kids a dress rehearsal on stage. That's
Yeah,
a
they
big
were
thing.
just put in front of lights at 2 years old. They don't know what the hell's
It's
going
probably
on.
terrifying.
Sorry, I didn't mean to call
Anyway, that is what, Cassian had to go. He was tossed off at the camp. And so he basically, when he got old enough to defend her, old enough and strong enough to defend her, she was already dead. And so he had gone back to that camp, a warrior, and ripped it to shreds, finding those responsible for her suffering and pain and her horrible life that they took and took their lives.
I know, like, an eye for an eye makes a whole world blind, but, like, how great did he feel after fucking doing that shit?
Well, he says repeatedly he has no regrets
no
about
regrets.
doing it.
None.
When he had finished decimating the camp, no one ever wanted to revive it. And so now it stays there sort of as a twisted sort of monument to what happened when they mistreated a warrior's
Now he
mother.
uses it as a sneer tent.
And he uses it as a sneer tent. And Cassian says he doesn't regret it. Not when they didn't even have the decency to tell him where her body went. All he had was faint memories of being a young boy and being loved and cared for by her. And this is why he comes to this place today, because after the clashing with Devlin, his real reason he fought so hard for those Illyrian females to receive training is because he wants them to have a chance his mother never did, to be able to fight back.
Goosh, 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 goosh.
Now that's what I call sexy.
Oh my God, Cassian! It's like everything about Cassian is just like, man, he can't get any sexier. And then like you keep reading, you're like, God damn you.
I know. I'm such a Rhysand girl, but every time I reread Cassian stuff, I'm like, but am I?
God, I just love a himbo. I love a himbo.
Such a sweet himbo.
No.
So he does this all for his mother.
And I can fix him!
But he doesn't even need fixed. He's perfect.
Yeah, he's perfect.
You can
Although I
give
think
him
that he could use
a
little
good
help.
blowjob.
I mean, okay. Just don't, I mean, the scene that just popped up in my head, and I go, okay.
Oh, boy. I know what scene you're talking about.
Yeah, you know what they're talking about. I know they're talking about chapter 55.
If you guys haven't read Silver Flame yet, I'm so excited for your journey.
I'm so excited for you. I would do anything to read it for the first time again.
Even those first chapters in Mist and Fury, not the first chapters, the special chapters in Mist and Fury. Those first time I read those.
Wow.
Yeah. I was like, I need to do a podcast that lasts a whole year about it. So after all of this, he does this all for his mother. He stands in the snow-covered rubble in silence, the way some might visit a grave, reflecting. In his reflection, he thinks of the days to come with his maid family at solstice.
Rhys wanted him home for the solstice, and he'd obey. Even if Nesta, even in his thoughts, her name clanged through him, hollow and cold. Now wasn't the time to think of her. Not here. But it's the sneer tent. Like, you can get it out there. It's okay.
Well, I think with Nesta's a point of discord inside of Cassian, I think. From what we learn in Wings and Ruin and what little bit we get from the bonus chapter, he feels a lot of contempt and anger towards her, but he can never stop thinking about her.
And also, like, you don't want someone that, like, openly dislikes you. Like, no matter, like, what feelings are happening between the two of you, like, Nesta is not nice to him.
She's not nice to anybody.
No.
And also, he does feel anger that she let Feyre out into the snow. And he's never shied away. One of the first interactions they had was him calling her out on it.
Yeah.
And so he can't ever stop thinking about her, and he can't stop the feelings of desire that rise in him when she's near. And it troubles him. Not only because of what they went through during the last battle, but because he seems to know that she's drowning right now in a way. If you'll recall at the end of ACOTAR, she was already beginning to distance herself in those last chapters. Whenever they were trying to pull her back into the group, she decided to walk up the stairs.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like it's gotten any better since then. Cassian gives a last look to the raised campgrounds and takes flight. Then we're back to Feyre at chapter 4, and this time she's in the hustle and bustle of the rainbow. And it is like that, like a montage from a movie with the sleigh bells and the harp in the background.
Oh, yeah, it's very, yes. It's very Hallmarky, you know, she's definitely looking for a Santa with a heart of gold.
She's got her Santa with a heart of gold. So it's Feyre moving through the lights and crowd and snow. Velaris solstice is very pagan sounding. Of course, solstice is, we should have talked more about solstice. Maybe I'll do that more tomorrow, next week. But solstice is sort of the pagan version of Christmas.
Of course.
And
of course.
All the shops and streetlights have holly and pine boughs sweeping across them because, again, like the tree and all of the pine stuff was a pagan ritual before it was a Christian.
Bring the trees inside the house.
And let them die slowly.
And then we set them on fire.
No, but actually, I think for some reason I must have not said this on this podcast before, but it's actually more environmentally sound to get real trees over the reusable plastic ones because the production of them is usually in China. And so they also have to travel, and pine trees are a sustainable resource. And it's like American businesses that it's better. It's better for the environment basically to have a real tree.
That's great because I will still get a real tree every year.
I love a real tree.
Yes.
Yeah, so everything's decorated with the holly and the pine, and Feyre's here to do some.
And Candace Cameron Bure shows up.
No.
And we're like, bitch, get out
Her
of here.
god is not
You're not
here.
allowed in Velaris.
And guess what? Gay people are there too. Ooh, spooky.
Get out of here. You're in a place called the Rainbow. Can't handle it. Get out of here, Candace Cameron Bure. Bernay, more like.
Bernay?
Yeah.
Oh, burn?
Yeah, or just like nay.
Oh, nay. And Feyre's here to do some shopping.
I love shopping. I would love to shop in this area. Oh my god, I would do anything.
It makes me think of Paris, or it also makes me think of whenever in Union Square when they do the Christmas shops.
Yes.
I always love that. She realizes as she's window shopping that the townsfolk are gawking at her, and she remembers she's like a little bit of a celebrity now.
Oh my god, what is she, like a high lady or something? Yeah, Feyre.
I'm kind of famous here. I'm so embarrassed about it,
and like it's just like, alone. Like that's it. Honestly, it kind of annoys me. Of just like, why is everybody looking at me? Like, what are you fucking talking about, Feyre?
She feels
your name is Feyre Cursebreaker, and you're the High Lady of the Night Court. What do you think they're looking at?
She feels self-conscious, but is also grateful to be welcomed into this world. Its people aren't looking at her with distrust, but awe. She's still getting used to her position as High Lady, but appreciates the work and feels humbled by how hands-on Rhys is with his people's concerns when he meets with them every week.
Yeah, and he's not forcing them to tithe the way Tamlin did.
Good tithing. As she continues through the throngs of excited citizens preparing for the holiday, her thoughts turn to Nesta, how she chose to stay in the worst apartment she could find. And even though it's pretty difficult to find those in Velaris, she found it. The only comparison to the grimness of those few rundown buildings are the ones that have been destroyed in Hybern's attacks. She realizes she's standing in front of one of those buildings that's been destroyed, turned to rubble and abandoned. She wonders if the people inside survived and where they went, if so. And then they got out in time.
A female voice said behind me.
Slightly startled, Feyre returns and is facing a woman she doesn't know, but she certainly recognizes.
I had not forgotten the sight of her standing outside that shop door, a rusted pipe raised over one shoulder, squaring off against the gathered Hybern soldiers, ready to go down swinging for the terrified people huddled inside. It's me! It's me, guys! It's me! And you're like, why does she look like Elphaba? Why is she dressed like Elphaba? I'm not dressed like Elphaba. No. I'm dressed as a savior, okay? A savior of the rainbow.
Yeah, you are.
Thank you. But I don't think her green paint gets all over her computer the way mine does.
No. Nope, I don't think so.
I'm going to have to find out a secret.
This is a callback to a scene in Mist and Fury. That happened, when Hybern had done the surprise attack and Feyre's out fighting. She remembers that scene does happen in the book. This woman is green-skinned and has long sable hair.
Me?
Feyre describes her as long and slender.
Well,
and notes that she...
Well, let's fudge it a little bit. I call her curvy and short.
I mean, she's curvy and short.
A thick bitch, you might say.
And notes that she has the pointed ears of the High Fae, but she is a type of High Fae that she doesn't see very often. Feyre and her face one another and exchange words. The fairy tells her that she knows the people who live there.
I know the people who lived there.
Oh, you think that's what her voice sounds like?
Yeah, probably.
I always thought of her as like a very gentle voice.
Oh, that she was like much more like nurturing than being a witch.
Yeah.
I think it's just,
you are mixing her up with the witch.
I'm mixing her up. I'm sorry, Rosita. It's not your fault.
So this fairy tells her that the people who live there are safe and they're living with relatives in the lowlands. Feyre asks about another building nearby, a shop that had been damaged and abandoned but still stood. The fairy tells her, unfortunately, the female who owned that gallery for centuries did not survive the attack. Damn. She then boldly mentions that it's for sale and that she'd heard Feyre was a fine artiste. Feyre gets flustered, having not expected that.
Who, me? And my stick figures?
And then also that she wasn't saying it because she was curious of buying the place. And the fairy kind of asks her why not. And Feyre's just like, I don't know, man. I just wasn't thinking about it.
We were like just in a war. I don't know. I'm not thinking about becoming a business owner right at this point in time.
The fairy, she's getting into an MLM.
Right? And she's like, yeah, you should buy that, and then we'll buy up all the different studios around here. Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
And then you get some more people to buy the buildings.
Yes, and they buy them from you and then turn a profit.
The fairy goes on to say that even if she isn't looking to buy the gallery, that the doors of Velaris are always open to her. As High Lady?
I dared ask.
As one of us,
she said simply. The words settled in, strange and yet like a piece I had not known was missing. An offered hand I had not realized how badly I wanted to grasp.
One of us! One of us!
Yeah, she is. She just wants to be accepted.
Her words touch Feyre, and she reaches out to shake her hand and formally introduce herself. The fairy introduces herself as Rhysand.
It's me.
And invites her to come join her anytime if she'd like to paint, because Rhysand herself is a painter.
Oh.
And she owns an art studio nearby.
Artist sees artist, accepts artist.
I see you.
Thank you.
I see you.
I validate you.
Oh, yeah, we're us.
Yes.
This is the two people in the scene.
It's us.
Thank you.
And
Thank
she
you,
has long,
Rhysand.
slender fingers, and she touches you.
No, it's green. There's green on it.
There is green all over it.
Again, Feyre is touched and thanks her. She says Feyre doesn't know how to take that, but she is very touched that Rhysand offered her to come and paint with them. Rhysand brushes it off, telling her that they all remember Feyre came to defend them that day. Later that evening, Feyre is still out shopping, and as she's looking at an assortment of jewels in a window, Morrigan is suddenly at her side and makes a joke about getting on Amren's good side with a big old fat sapphire.
I love that. I love it. Just like, well, you can't give her blood anymore, so gemstones?
Yeah. Feyre's delighted to see her friend, and they hook arms and they admire the jewelry together, just like in a little window shopping scene in a movie.
It's like Little Women.
It is. They gossip about Varian and wonder if he'll come to the solstice party. Feyre reflects on the great sacrifice Amren gave during the battle, and she and Mor go into the store knowing that Amren deserves a big fat sapphire.
Get it for her.
Because, of course, she gave her whole life away.
Yeah, now she's, she's just a fae now.
She's not immortal, but she's still going to live for like 2,000 years. So
she's fine.
So,
honestly, think of Mr. Bojangles from the Green Mile. You think you want to live forever, but who wants to live forever? That's Highlander, though. There can be only one. I don't want to live forever.
I'm glad they didn't make the Green Mile into a musical. That would be weird.
I'd watch it.
I don't know.
Another Tom Hanks pissing scene, though.
He loves pissing.
Man.
That's Henry has a shirt that just says Tom Hanks is pissing or something like that.
Is it all the different scenes of him pissing in movies?
It's a great League of Their Own scene. As they make their purchase for Amren, Feyre asks Mor what she wants herself, and Mor kind of hedges. Feyre sees this as a prime opportunity to be nosy and mentions that maybe Mor could bring someone to the party. She's been going to Rita's an awful lot lately. I don't know if there's like anyone special. And Mor's like, nah.
None.
Let's not. Can we not? So Feyre changes the subject.
Feyre is such a little meddler, which I completely understand. I'm totally that person. Just like, have you been hanging out with anybody? You can bring them around.
She's being nebby. So Feyre decides to change the subject and asks what she's getting everyone for the holidays. And they have an exchange that I find funny where Mor says that a thing a lot of us are probably thinking, which is, I don't know. I've been buying these people presents for 500 years. I don't really know anymore what I'm out of ideas.
I can't even imagine how you can. I feel like you'd have to. I'd take centuries off. I'd be like, how about we come back around? Like this century, I'll get Az something. I'll get Amren something. I'll get Nesta something. Right. And then like you do 3 for a century, and then you switch it up.
You do a Secret Santa.
You do a Secret
They don't
Santa.
have Santa though.
Oh, yeah, we'll do, what is it, Golden Goose? Golden Goose.
You mean White Elephant?
Honk, honk, honk. Oh, yeah, White Elephant.
I like Golden Goose, though.
Yeah. You are the Golden Goose. Hello.
I don't know if they have elephants.
Oh, my God. I wonder if they do have elephants.
I don't know.
Where would they keep them?
On the continent, I guess.
Yeah, I guess. That are, like, down with the, Baraxis.
Oh, down in
That's
the
where all the
darkness.
elephants are, yeah.
The elephants have to sit in the dark.
Yeah, they love it
That's
down
so
there.
sad. I don't think they would.
No, I don't think they would either.
I've seen Dumbo.
Oh, he likes sunshine.
He does. What? Oh, mentions.
Mentions?
That I think it's spell checked it for
Spell checked it to minions. Feyre minions, and she goes, potato. And then that gets really weird.
No minions.
Banana.
So there's an interesting moment where Feyre mentions getting Azrael a dagger and how it's unlikely he'd ever give up Truth Teller.
Except for that one time.
And more quietly responds that he did, in fact, give it to Elaine.
Except for that one time.
I think that there was more to that sentence than meets the eye because, yes, giving over that blade to Elaine was definitely out of character. And I think Moore took note of it. Her little simp suddenly gave his knife to some other woman, huh?
Whoa.
He'd never given her Truth Teller.
No, he certainly hasn't.
Then we get some Christmas porn as they discuss what Vivian of the Winter Court has told Moore about their solstice celebrations. They have dancing, drinking, feasting, and gifting. Roaring fires made from entire tree trunks and cauldrons filled of mull wine.
Don't bring up cauldrons.
Oh,
Not right now. Right, Moore? I know, and there's nothing I can do about it. There's nothing I can do about it. What am I going to do?
if you don't want, we don't have to keep that part into the video. If you don't want me to say your nose is
My
running.
nose is running. No! I'm taking the makeup off! No, we can keep it in. I'm fine.
Keep it in.
Ah!
I think we could use some mulled wine, though.
Yeah, I say more morning mulled wine.
And also, the Winter Court includes the singing of 1,000 minstrels flowing through their palace, answered by the bells ringing on the large sleighs pulled by those beautiful white bears. I personally don't think I'd want 1,000 minstrels singing personally.
Too many
but
minstrels.
there's-
It's like, can you just shut up? Can you just shut up? We're drinking morning wine. Can you just, please, for a second? Stop
Can you
the
stop
goddamn hammering!
Scrooge.
We love a Scrooge reference.
But otherwise, it sounds very nice.
Yes, it does.
Moore is also, she has some bad news. The real reason that she sought out Feyre, they are to go to the Hewn City tonight.
It's like, can we not?
Nope, they got to. This is news to Feyre, and she is bummed. She's basically like, why do we have to go? Moore continues that she herself, Feyre, and Rhys are going as it's a tradition this time of the year. Moore begrudgingly says it's to wish the Fae of the Hewn City well and hope them have good luck on the year to come.
Year to come.
Another bummer. Eris will be there.
Of course.
But Moore and Feyre both know that they are really going to spy in on what's happening. It's not really about wishing them well, because fuck them people.
No.
I mean them Fae. We have another Feyre chapter, and that begins with Feyre laying on Rhys and her's bed. She's dozing, having read a couple pages of a book and started to fall asleep. She's forgone any more work today, instead preparing for her appearance in the Hewn City by taking a little nap. She feels Rhys's power near and waits for him.
His Illyrian leathers gleamed with melted snow, and more of it shone on his dark hair and wings as he quietly shut the door.
Right where I left you.
Oh.
They are in a playful tone together, but she can see his exhaustion radiating out of him as he begins to peel off layers of his clothes. She asks him if he's eaten, and when he admits he hasn't, she jumps off the bed to fetch him food from the kitchen despite his protests.
5 minutes later, Rhys held the door open for me wearing nothing but his undershorts as I strode in, tray in my hands.
That was a little solstice treat, envisioning Rhys in his undershorts.
Thank you for the treat. Nom, nom, nom. I want more treat. I want more treat.
And Rhys is also in that frame of mind because the frame of mind that we're in currently. Because he reaches to pull Feyre into his lap, but she jumps away and tells him no, not until he eats. He then says he'll eat her after with a grin. As he eats and Feyre begins questioning him on how long it's been since he ate, he smiles and tells her she's fussing over him. She counters that he does the same over her and then brings up the Fae period.
This is the Christmas special is where they drop knowledge of the world, of the lore. This is where we're going to, you're not going to talk about this in the middle. Yeah, you're going to talk about this in the middle of a war.
So this is a little new piece of info we get in this book that Fae females only have their period twice a year, but they are horrible. Which made me immediately think, did you ever see the Tina Fey Saturday Night Live commercial for Annuel?
No.
It's really funny if you guys want to look it up on YouTube. It's basically a pill that gives women their period once a year. And it starts out with that, the way that period commercials are, where it's just like women doing yoga.
Yeah.
I'd like to hear more. And then by the end of it, you learn that the one period they have a year is just like them going insane and just like axing through their office.
Yeah,
it's very funny. You should watch it. Annuel. Well, Feyre now has had her first Fae period, and she recalls that her human periods were really bad, so her Fae ones were almost unbearable because it sort of like accentuates whatever happened.
No, thank you.
But during it, she notes Rhys wouldn't leave her side, even though she was like unable to control anything, like she was just like covered in blood. And he helped her clean up the soiled sheets and everything.
Put me in the sneer tent. Just leave me there.
She did consider having, what's the healer's name? Madja. Make her unconscious for the entire time.
Yeah, just put me out. I'd rather be out.
The red tent. Oh, like the Bible.
Just like the
But he helps clean up the blood and all of that stuff because he's perfect.
Of course he is.
This gets her thinking about children and the boy the bone carver showed her. And she wonders if, because children were so rare to the Fae, that if she waited until she was ready, it might be too late.
I understand. I'm like, you're only 21. You're fine.
I'm like, hold on. First off, you are only 20.
You literally say that in the
yeah.
So yeah, cool out. You're fine.
And also, I've not heard anything in the lore of these Fae that they stop giving birth at a certain age. I think you can be like 400 and have a baby still. So like,
take a century. You're fine.
Calm down. All right? A little too much. Jesus Christ.
Get used to this world first. You know what I mean?
She then goes on to realize that she doesn't even know how she'd have time to be a mother right now. She's so busy.
But also, you have a staff. I don't really feel that bad for her.
No. She also recalls having that talk with her sisters once they were made and how awkward it had been, which I can't imagine having that talk with Nesta and Lane would be great to do. It would be like Nesta would just be sneering away and Lane be like, oh, no, not a blood. I'm a baby.
Just babies.
But as far as she knows, neither had their first one yet. Their conversation turns towards Elaine and Lucien and how it will be for them at this party, if Lucien will even show up. Soon, she's walking towards him as he's finishing his food. She stands over him and he braces her hips. She asks him to forgive Lucien, and he says he can't just yet for everything he let happen to her. But when she points out that he seems to have forgiven Elaine, but not Nesta, he says, Elaine is Elaine. Nesta she's Illyrian. I mean that as a compliment, but she's an Illyrian at heart, so there's no excuse for her behavior.
Yeah, me too. I'm also Illyrian at heart. I'm not, like, at all.
No, you're
You think so? Give me my leathers. I mean, I'd look great in leathers.
You would.
Don't get me wrong. But then, you imagine them in the battlefield just like, as the leather squishes?
Every outfit I'm putting together for all of the stuff coming up. Just like, I don't know how you can't even bend your knees.
You can't move.
Silly, but it is sexy.
Yes.
And while I agree with Rhys that Nesta is Illyrian at heart. It's another time where they're all just babying Elaine. Like, Elaine couldn't have helped. She's just helpless. She can't.
Hold her to a higher standard. She can handle it.
Maybe we will find that out like later on when we get her book, that she resents that. She just leans into it because they all act like she can't do anything.
She can't fight it. I mean, if you can't beat them, join them.
Yeah. He begins to wrap his arms around her and they continue their talk, but now it's on the bond. Feyre is silent for a bit and he asks, "Thought for a thought, Feyre, darling?"
I smiled at the request, the old game between us.
She goes on to tell him about the meeting with Rhysand.
That's my name.
And her invitation to join her to paint. He asks why she doesn't sound excited about it, and she admits that she feels selfish wanting to paint, for her to lounge and paint around when there are still people suffering in Velaris. He disagrees, of course, and correctly points out to her that painting for a few hours won't change that or make it worse for anyone. They continue to engage in intimate partner talk about their feelings, their worries.
Aww.
Rhys brings up that it's her birthday on solstice, so she better expect 2 presents. She groans, but he says, "You were born on the longest night of the year."
His fingers again stroked down my back. Lower.
"You were meant to be at my side from the very beginning."
Oh.
He begins to seduce her, stroking her body and whispering about the time she winnowed for the first time.
You thinking about the seduction right now? You feeling it?
I am. How he was so proud, but so distracted by her tackling him in the snow. Because her body's on top of his body.
Yeah.
He confesses that he still can't believe he gets to have her. She then confesses to wanting him all the way back under the mountain, even though she couldn't admit it to herself. He flips her onto the bed and whispers that he wants a week with her in this bed as he continues to tease her. Then they begin to get very adult.
Wow, bobbo. My core pounded, sister to my thunderous heartbeat. The need to have him buried inside me, to have him, as if in mockery of those twin beats within me. A knocking rattled the bedroom door. Get out of here!
Just so you're aware,
More chirped from the other side.
we do have to go soon.
Rhys let out a low growl that skittered over my skin, his hair slipping over his brow as he turned his head toward the door. Nothing but predatory intent in his glazed eyes.
"We have 30 minutes,
he said with remarkable smoothness.
and it takes you 2 hours to get dressed."
More quipped through the door. A sly pause.
And I'm not talking about Feyre. He laughs and shoos more away. He tells Feyre he's going to get her later. As in, I'm going to fuck you later.
I'm gonna bury myself inside of you!
And goes off to the bathroom to run a bath. Feyre follows shortly after and finds him sitting there. And when she puts her hand in, finds the water to be ice cold. Because he's got
gotta
a
get
boner.
rid of his boner. He's got to get rid of his boner. Before going to the hewn city, the last thing you need is to be all, yeah, man. Just be like, "Oh, Kier, I'm sorry. Oh, don't look at it."
Next up, we're going to start with an introduction to Morrigan's little noggin.
Gotta get inside of her brain. I love being inside all of their brains.
I do too. I want more of their brains.
Yes.
I forgot there was
Morrigan.
really.
You're gonna get it next time.
I forgot there was only 5 perspectives, I think, in this book. I thought there was more people.
Yeah.
But we still need to. We get a little bit of Az in the bonus chapter.
Yes.
But I want to hear more from more. I want to hear Amren's thoughts. I want to hear from some of the side characters' thoughts.
I also want more just Amren, Very, and Bang sessions. Please.
Yeah.
If we're already putting in orders.
I don't know if Sarah's taking a comment box.
Yeah,
or
okay, because
anything.
we're putting this stuff in and we would like to be held. I mean, we want it.
We want more of it. We want more of the sex. More sex from everyone. All around. A round of sex.
Cheers! Round of sex for all! Round of sex for all!
We have to get out of here. I'm going nuts.
I'm defying gravity.